Hello students, today we are discussing motion in a straight line. Regarding this same topic, I have provided you enough notes, PPTs and online videos. But again, it is important for us to revise it and learn it again in a different way, because it is very important to learn this chapter so that we can understand other chapters which will come after motion in a straight line. The chapters are motion in two dimensions. We'll also do vector and projectile motion. So by keeping this thing in my mind, I have just prepared this PPT for you guys so that you can learn motion in a straight line in a proper way. We'll do assignment according to the same topic. Now first, all of you have learned about branches of physics. In this PPT, we'll learn concept of a point object, a reference point and frame of references. Origin of position, time, rest and motion, relative terms. These things already you have done, uniform motion, non-uniform motion, but somehow we'll keep these things in our mind also. We have to read about motion in 1, 2 and 3 dimensions. First we are learning about 1 dimension, then we'll go 2 dimension, then 3 dimensions also. Motion in a straight line. In this already you have learned distance, displacement, scalar and vector. I told you earlier also. Speed, uniform, variable, average and instantaneous speed. This we have already discussed. Velocity, uniform, variable, average, graphical presentation and instantaneous graph also. Instantaneous graph means when we write v is equal to dx by dt, it will give us instantaneous velocity. Difference between speed and velocity you have done already. Uniform motion in a straight line, which we are doing right now. Position time graph, velocity time graph of uniform motion. These graphs already given in notes as well as in PPTs. Non-uniform motion, acceleration, uniform, non-uniform. Some part we'll learn in this PPT also regarding acceleration. Otherwise you have done non-uniform motion already. Position time graph, velocity time graph of non-uniform motion. This already you have done. Equations of motion, first, second and third. Graphical we will also understand, and by calculus method, that is by integration method. Now we'll come to the next point, relative velocity and the graphs, which we will also learn in this particular PPT. Now if we talk about mechanics, I told you the branch of physics which we have to do. Mechanics is a branch of physics that deals with the motion of a body due to the application of force. That means when something moves, it comes under mechanics, mechanical physics. The two main branches of mechanics are statics and dynamics. Static means what now? Static is a study of motion of an object under the effect of force in equilibrium. That means when a force is acting on a body in equilibrium, then it comes under statics. Dynamics, it is a study of the motion of the object by taking into account the cause of their change of states, state of rest or motion. Dynamics is classified into kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics, the study of motion of the object without taking into account the cause of their motion, is called kinematics. Kinetic means kinetic is the study of motion which relates to the action of forces causing the motion and the mass that is moved. The basic difference you have to understand between kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics says what? The study of motion. We study motion in this of any object, but we don't consider the cause of their motion. It is moving, there is no cause. But in kinetics we actually study motion again, but we also relate that what type of action force is applying on the body, and the mass is moving also. Mass of the body is moving. That means Action of forces causing the motion and the mass that is moved. We'll study both. Concept of a point object. Point object we have to study in a very proper way. In mechanics, a particle is geometrical mass point or a material body of negligible dimensions. It is only a mathematical idealization. It means if we go with a any type of mass point or something, so it's very negligible. It has no dimensions, actually negligible dimensions we can say. It is only a mathematical idealization. That means we consider a point object. Example, you can see one arrow is coming towards a circular body. Then there is one car, one is aeroplane, one is ship. Clear? They all are on this earth. Clear? So if we consider earth, and if we consider all these three bodies, whether it's a ball, car, aeroplane, or the ship, they in this, which is written in practice, the nearest approach to a particle is a body whose size is much smaller than the distance or the length involved. It means if ship is moving from one country to another country, the distance which it will cover or displacement which it will cover, it is going to be very large as compared to the size of that particular body. You are going from Delhi to, suppose, any state. Suppose you are going Delhi to say Punjab, or you are going to Gujarat. The distance covered by your car or by the bus or by the train is very huge than the dimension of that particular body, car, train or something. So we will consider them as a point object. Position, path, length and displacement. Reference point plays very important role. You have to understand it. Consider a rectangular coordinate system consisting of three mutually perpendicular axes. We are labeling them x, y and z. The point of intersection of these three axes is called origin. I hope you have done in this these things in mathematics, and serves as a reference point. The coordinates x, y, z of an object describe the position of the object with respect to the coordinate system. I am just giving you very simple example. In your room you have three coordinate systems, x, y and z. Suppose if anything is hanging on the roof, if you want to tell that it is at how much distance from x axis, how much distance from y axis, and how much height it has from the floor, it means that position of that particular object will involve x axis, y axis and z axis. This is known as three dimension. We have to consider some reference point and we have to take one origin also, so that we can tell the exact position of that body. You can see in this there is OX, OY and OZ. Frame of reference we are talking about. There is one clock we have shown here. The coordinate system along with a clock to measure the time constitutes a frame of reference. Again I am repeating, the coordinate system along with a clock to measure the time constitutes a frame of references. It means in this also we will consider time axis. Positive direction we also take. What do you mean by positive direction? The positive direction of an axis is in the direction of increasing numbers, coordinates we can say. Negative direction, the negative direction of an axis is in the direction of decreasing numbers or coordinates. While describing motion, we use reference point or origin with respect to which the motion of other bodies are observed. That I was telling to you earlier. We can use any object as reference point. For example, a car at rest or in motion can be used as a reference point. Okay. When you travel in a bus or train, you can see the trees, buildings and other poles moving back. To a tree, you are moving forward, and to you, the trees are moving back. Clear? Now both you and the trees can serve as reference points, but motion cannot be described without reference point. It means if somebody is standing outside the train and you are in the train, clear? So that particular body is at rest, but you will appear as a body in motion. Getting my point? It means somebody will act or something will act as a reference point if we have to show that a body is in motion. Now, which effect do you get when you play video games involving car racing? Origin, unit and direction of position measurement of an object. Like this. You can see that there is one x-axis in positive plus x and one minus x. There is one 0. On the right hand side it goes to up to 70 in positive direction, or they are all plus, but on the left hand side they all are negative till minus 60. The distance measured to the right of the origin of the position axis is taken positive and the distance measured to the left of the origin is taken negative. The origin for position can be shifted to any point of the position axis. The distance between 2 points on position axis is not affected due to the shift in the origin of the position axis. Origin, unit and sense of passage of time. Now in another there is time now. Time they have shown positive and another side they have time shown negative. From 0 to 7 towards right hand side it is positive, towards left hand side up to minus 6 it is negative. The time measured to the origin of the right of the origin of the time axis is taken positive and the time measured to the left of the origin is taken negative. Second point says the origin of time axis can be shifted to any point on the time axis. Again I am saying it can be shifted to 1. Similarly we are saying the same thing to the above graph, that is which is showing only plus x and minus x axis. The negative time coordinates of a point on time axis means that object reached that point a time that much before the origin of the time axis, that is t is equal to 0. Again I am telling you, as time cannot be taken as negative, but we think what? If we are taking, suppose 0 we are taking and we are talking about minus 3 seconds. So what it says, the negative time coordinate of a point on time axis means that object reached at a point at time that much before the origin of the time axis. Clear? That means when we starting the time, we will start the time clock at that moment. It means the body will reach there 3 seconds before it. It means this actually. The time interval between 2 points on the time axis is not affected due to the shift in the origin of time axis. They are not going to shift. When the same point is chosen as origin for position and time, like we have shown that there is one point O. Here time is also 0 and x is also 0. That is displacement or distance is also 0 on the same point. On the time is also taken to be same. A point is considered to be 6 hours from reference point, whereas x is 30 km. Again B point 8 hours, distance or displacement 40, and C also 11 hour, distance or displacement is 55 km. This is the one set of example. Origin for position and time, where the different points are chosen as origin for position and time. Now in this next one we have shown origin t is equal to minus 6 hours and x is equal to minus 40 km. A point we have chosen t is equal to 0 and x is equal to minus 10. B we have chosen t is equal to 2 hours, x is equal to 0. Again I am telling you, in this lower one we have chosen A as a reference point for time. That means t is equal to 0 is at point A. That's why when we go to point O in the downward figure as compared to upward, now in the upward figure we have seen that the A was 6 hours whereas O was at t is equal to 0. But now as A is t is equal to 0, definitely we are shifting towards left hand side. That's why O point time has chosen as minus x hours. Clear? Now if we go to the B, now in the above figure A was at t is equal to 6 hours and B was t is equal to 8 hours when O was origin of time. But in the lower one, as origin of time is A, that's why we will take on B time is equal to 2 hour. On C we'll take time is equal to 5 hour, because A is now acting as a reference point for time t. Now if you go to point B, here x is equal to 0 kilometer, that means B is taken as a reference point for distance or displacement. That's why you have seen that if we compare with A will be now minus 10 kilometer, because earlier in the above figure when O was the reference point or origin for position and time, A was at 30 kilometer and B was at 40 kilometer. Already distance between A and B was 10 kilometer. Now as B has chosen x is equal to 0, definitely to measure A will go to the left hand side. Left hand side we are taking negative, that's why it becoming minus 10. In the same way, if we go to the point C, time will be 5 hours, because A at point A t is equal to 0. Now as point B x is equal to 0, that's why distance or displacement at point C will not be 55, it is going to be 15 kilometer. And on the same way, at point O, x will be minus 40 kilometers. It is the only point where we are taking origin for position as well as for time. We have shown origin for time point A, and point B we have shown origin for position. Rest and motion are relative terms. How? We will explain this. You can, in this figure you can see that the earth is revolving around the sun. In the example of motion of a ball and car, man is considered to be at rest stationary. But the man is standing on the earth and the earth itself moves around the sun as well as rotates about its axis. Therefore, man is at rest with respect to the earth but is rotating and revolving around the sun. That is why rest and motion are relative terms. It is very much clear with this example. Now motion in 1, 2 or 3 dimensions. One dimensional motion. The motion of object is said to be one dimension if only one of the 3 coordinate system is required to specify it with respect to time. It is also known as what? Rectilinear motion. In such a motion, the object moves in a straight line. Example, a train moving in a straight track, man walking in a narrow level road, etc. 2 dimensions if we go. So what it is saying, that motion of the object is said to be 2 dimension if 2 or 3 coordinates are required to be specified with respect to time. In such a motion, the object moves in a plane. Example, ant moving on a floor, a billiard ball moving on a billiard table, or a carom board you are playing. That is the same example. 3-dimension motion, when it is using all 3 coordinate system, then it is are required to specify it with respect to the time, then it is 3 dimension. Such a motion takes place in space basically. Flying aeroplane, bird, kite, etc. They all are the example of 3D. Motion in a straight line. Path. The line joining the successive position of a moving body is called its path. The length of the actual path between the initial and final position gives us distance traveled by the body. Distance is a scalar. We have already done in this previous one. Illustration we have shown, a person we have shown here, and you can see on the right hand side there is north direction, geographical north axis. Person is now moving. You can see that is going straight. Now 5 kilometers has moved. Now in the next it has gone to 2 kilometers. Clear? First it has gone 5 kilometers straight. Now 2 kilometers. It is moving in a particular direction. you can say there is some angle theta with horizontal line. Distance travel is 7 km. 5 plus 2 distance is 7 km. Now in the next figure, person is moving, okay, and now it is coming back also. You can see that. Now in this situation, what will happen? Distance travel is 10 km. Now displacement, if you want to see, is the line joining the initial and final position. It doesn't depend upon which path you have considered or taken, and it's a vector quantity also. Illustration, you can see there is a man now, again it's walking straight 5 km, then it has gone to 2 km. Now displacement will be the straight line from the starting to the final. So displacement is 6.57 km in the direction shown by the arrow mark. If you measure this length, it is going to be 6.57. It is not 5 plus 2 now. Now in the next, the person is going straight, and now what will happen? It will move back. Now we will calculate the displacement in this condition also. As I told you, displacement is a vector quantity, it depends upon the direction. So when it was moving from left to right, it is taken to be plus 5. When it is moving right to left back, it is taken to be minus 5. So 5 minus 5 will give you 0 kilometers. Now you can see one ball, it is moving from point A to B by a C. So this is distance, but displacement will be the straight line which is shown directly from A to B. So now it has shown distance scalar, displacement vector. In the next, difference distance traveled by a moving body cannot be 0, but final displacement can be 0, as we have seen in the previous example. Scalar, which has magnitude only, those quantities, length, mass, time, speed, energy, etc. Vectors, they have both, that means direction as well as magnitude. Displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, they all are vectors. Average velocity, there is one position time graph we have seen. Point P1 we have chosen. If from this point P1 we draw a line to position, it is going to be x1 from origin O, whereas on time axis it is showing position T1 from origin O. Now another point we have taken P2. Now x2 and T2 will be the positions on position x-axis and time axis. From P1 to P2 we have drawn a straight line. The slope of P1, P2 gives average velocity. Uniform velocity, position time, it is a straight line. Xt graph for stationary object. If time is only running but position is not changing, it means what? The object is stationary now. In the next one, you can see that the line is straight, but it has some angle with time axis. It means the body is moving. Exit graph for object with positive velocity. In the next, position time graph, again it is going downward. Xt graph for an object with a negative velocity. Second was positive, another was for negative. Position time graph, uniform motion. In this you can see the point, body is not moving from O, it is moving from x naught. Clear? It means the body, we have taken not reference point O, we have taken reference point x naught. You can see there is a positions A and B which is showing its value on time axis as well as on x axis, position axis. B point is showing position on time axis as T2 and on position axis as x2. Slope of position time graph gives the velocity of uniform motion. So velocity is the slope of AB. That is how we'll calculate slope. I told you earlier also, slope always we find with the help of tan theta. It means perpendicular upon base. So BC by AC will be the slope of AB. Or BC, how we calculate? Definitely x2 minus x1 will be BC, whereas T2 minus T1 will be AC. Velocity time graph, uniform motion. We have shown one ABCD, a rectangular area on velocity time graph. Area under velocity time graph gives the displacement of the body in uniform motion. x2 minus x1 is equal to area ABCD. And how we find out area or displacement is velocity to time? So it is going to be, time will be t2 minus t1. Uniform acceleration if equal changes of velocity takes place in equal interval of time. However small these intervals may be, then the body is said to be under uniform motion acceleration. Or a body has uniform acceleration if its velocity changes at a uniform rate. Example, we have shown the motion of a freely falling body is uniformly accelerated motion. Now one ball is there, you can see it is falling like this. So this is an example of what? Uniformly accelerated motion. Example 2, the motion of a sliding block on a smooth inclined plane is uniformly accelerated motion. There is one block. This kind of practical will or activity will also do. There is one block. Now we will allow it to slide down. This is an example of uniformly accelerated motion. Non-uniform acceleration, a body is said to be moving with non-uniform acceleration if its velocity increases by unequal amounts in equal interval of time. Or a body has non-uniform acceleration if its velocity changes at a uniform rate. Example, the motion of a car on a crowded city road, its speed or velocity changes continuously. You can see there is one road here, a car is there, it is moving, it is taking brake and again it is moving. Retardation or deceleration, negative acceleration, because when velocity increases, body is said to be under acceleration. If the body decreases, the body is said to be under negative acceleration. A body is said to be retarded if its velocity decreases with respect to time. Now you can see there is a car, it has now stopped, so it is under retardation. The car is decreasing or decelerating to come to a halt. The position time graph, uniformly accelerated, positive acceleration, we can show by the graph like this. This is uniformly accelerated motion, position acceleration graph, positive acceleration graph we have shown. Uniformly decelerated, negative acceleration, it will be shown like this. Uniform motion, zero acceleration, it will be shown like this. Velocity time graph, uniformly accelerated or deceleration. The graphs which will come first. Velocity time graph, motion in positive direction with positive acceleration. Now there is another graph, velocity time, in this motion in positive direction with negative acceleration. In third one, velocity time graph again, motion in negative direction with negative acceleration. Now in the last graph we have shown motion with negative acceleration between 0 to t1 in positive x-axis and between t1 and t2 in negative x-axis. Again I am telling to you, the last graph is showing motion with negative acceleration, but between 0 to t1 it is under positive x-axis, but between t1 and t2 x-axis is also chosen as negative. So kinematic equations of uniformly accelerated motion by graphical method. There is one graph, you can say that. Now in this graph, velocity time graph is given to you. Now velocity is not chosen from O, it has chosen from V0 to V. So V0 we can say its initial velocity, whereas V is final velocity. From B to dB it is V minus V0, there is one time axis t. So acceleration is change in velocity of one time taken for change. So we can say A is equal to BD by AD. I told you already in graph, if we are finding anything which is the division of two given things in a graph, we always find slope, and slope we find always perpendicular upon base. Now A can be chosen as AE also, because BD and AE both are same. So AE can be now again written as OE minus OA by OC, because AD can be also written as OC because they are same. So A becomes V minus V0 by T. or v minus v naught is equal to at. This is also your very first equation of motion, or v is equal to v naught plus at. Now second equation of motion, same graph we'll use. Now we'll find area of trapezium. It gives sum of two parallel sides into height divided by 2. That's why it is written half into OC into OA plus CB. Now OC can be taken as T, whereas OA is V naught and CB is taken to be V. Remember one thing, OA is V naught and OE is V. V is not from A to E, V is from O to E and V naught is from O to A. So in the next, we know that V is equal to V naught plus AT. This we have done already in the very first derivation. Now if you multiply T inside, becomes V naught plus V naught will be 2V naught into T plus A T into T becomes T square. So Sx is equal to V naught T plus half AT square. That's the second equation of motion. Now third equation of motion. Now in this, the area of trapezium OABC gives the distance travelled. Now again we are using the same formula, same concept we have used, which we have used in the second one. Now the third step, V plus V naught is equal to 2x by T. Now first equation, from the first equation of motion we have V minus V naught is equal to AT. This is second equation we have chosen. Now we have multiplied equation first and second, which we have chosen. We will get V square minus V naught square is equal to 2ax, which is considered to be V square minus V square is equal to 2as. Now we can write in this way also. Now if the position coordinate is non-zero at t is equal to 0, say x naught, then it will return as V is equal to V naught plus AT. There will be no effect on that. But as position coordinate is non-zero, that's why we will not take, or will not write x is equal to V naught T plus half of AT square. We will write x minus x naught is equal to V naught T plus half AT square. And similarly on V square is equal to V naught square plus 2ax we will not write. We will write V square is equal to V naught square plus 2ax minus x naught. Equations of motion of a freely falling body, we will take A is equal to G and X is equal to H. Therefore these three equations will be written in form of this. Only difference will be there, in place of A we will use G, whereas in place of X we are using H. The third equation, x minus x naught, we have chosen H, whereas in the third equation of motion V square is equal to V naught square plus 2a x minus x naught, we have chosen H. Now we can also write velocity as dx by dt. Dx is equal to v dt. V is equal to V naught plus at. Dx is equal to V naught plus at dt. Integrating both sides, we will get this equation. Now this integration method we will again do. Clear? Right now these things you will understand in the next slides, but till this slide we are just stopping it here. Thank you so much.